Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Pleasure to have you here with us at the 81st Venice Film Festival. Perhaps you could begin with an introduction to your film, The After Party. What can people expect when they watch it?
I call it like a hangover odyssey happening across 24 hours of my main protagonist. So I think there's a lot they can take from it. The film is sort of like a blend of genres which I prefer and like. And what starts at the family drama is sort of contrasted with the summer vibe buddy coming of age movie. Given the subject that is very heavy or dark in a way, I try to make it also light and hopeful in a way. So I guess it's ultimately engaging for the audience, I hope.
And what was your starting point? Was it this central character? Was it the premise, of suddenly her life just sort of, the rug being pulled out from underneath her feet, or even the format itself, the fact that it's taking place over just one day? What was the starting image?
The starting thing was in real life. My family was going through similar events as in the film. So as we were, because my father got made some debts, we lost our apartment and things, and so we lived through similar events, and that was just terrible and sad and everything. But amidst it all, I was telling myself, in a way, it felt very cinematic, and I believe that it is always better to draw from your own life. If you want to make a film. So I was given a lot of inspiration suddenly. And but I did not want to make autobiography because I wanted to make fiction and I wanted to create a unique fiction story. And so besides the elements of real life that I wanted to incorporate in the film, I started with the idea of my protagonist, Jędrzejka, accompanied by her best friend Karolina, as they're just carrying the sofa and taking it with the car, and that was like this first visual thing I got when I was in a similar situation as them. So that was at the very beginning.
And what was your casting process? And I guess you had to sort of, in terms of choosing your actors, have people that could strike that right tone and give these quite naturalistic performances in front of the camera. So how do you decide, particularly on your protagonist?
I mean, what works for me is to really get the actors involved and cast very early on. As I'm both writer and director, during the writing I'm always thinking of the end product of the film that will at some point be shot and have. I approached Eliška, who's my lead in the film, like 6 years ago or so, when I wrote the script. And for 2 years we were just meeting, discussing the script and everything. And then suddenly, we were like, okay, let's make a movie. And there was a pandemic, so everything got postponed in a way. But overall, I think what helped me is to really start the discussions early on, because I get inspired by the people I choose to work with a lot. So I write something, we go through it, I rewrite it accordingly so that it sounds natural. And what works for me is to really get to know the people on a professional and a human level. And also with Anna, who's playing Karolina in the film. We casted her in 2020, and so I really was meeting with her and then with both of them. So it was a gradual process of really getting to know each other, becoming friends, and getting the chemistry right with them. And of course, you cannot really do this with all the actors, because sometimes, because there's a lot of actors there. But what I try to do is really just, try to involve them in the rewrites or something like that. They can really have an input that I will incorporate in the film to make it more believable, make it more natural.
And tell us a bit about the shoot itself. And, posed challenges that it was supposed to be sort of like one day. You know, we shooting everything chronologically, and of course, as you say, what starts as quite a sort of a carefree atmosphere, you know, there's this tension that starts to build. You're almost kind of watching a thriller or something. So tell us about, you know, maybe some of the high points, but maybe the challenging moments.
I mean, it was really challenging because given the budget of the film, which is still really small, we were allowed to make the film within 14 days, which is like, yeah, usually we would need 30 to be fine. So it was really quick and yeah, given the 24 hours and this seemingly real time as the film is happening in, we tried to shoot as much in chronological order as possible, but it wasn't always possible given the locations and everything. It was supposed to be in the set in the dry summer, but we had to postpone till September, and suddenly the weather was all over the place every day. So for continuity, that was a tough challenge really, and because we had to be really efficient, really quick, and also the weather was wild. And one of the other challenges that I was facing was that my daughter turned 1, and my partner, she was coming back to work, and I was the one supposed to stay at home with our daughter. And as the shooting got postponed, my partner started working. I was supposed to take care of our daughter, and suddenly we started shooting as well. So that was one of the biggest challenges, to really get my mother and my mother-in-law, you know, help accompany our daughter and yeah, make it all work. And yeah, and we managed to survive it and managed to make a film as well.
And in terms of the look and feel of it, as you said right at the outset, you know, this is kind of a blend of genres, and you know, there are a lot of coming-of-age films out there. Perhaps there are some expectations which quickly get upended. So do you take influence from other films? And was that something quite fun to do, maybe, to kind of upend audience expectations?
I mean, I love genre blending and mixing. That's what I, as a viewer, admire when it's done right. And since the very beginning of working on this film, I wanted to avoid the coming-of-age genre at all costs. Because I have, I mean, I've seen many that are great, but I've seen many that really made me sort of like angry, because I felt that a lot of them were not really lifelike, you know, that they were really so I was trying to avoid it, but at some point I realized I'm making one, so I accepted it and tried to perfect it in a way. And so for me, because like there was the obvious family drama at the core of the film, but I was thinking more of a, yeah, like the family drama must be contrasted with something more light. So I was thinking like this, yeah, summer vibe, coming of age, buddy movie in a way. And I draw inspirations from so many films. I mean, I was inspired by a lot of westerns, because the film is set in this suburban area, which to me feels like wilderness, and the girls, they, you know, take the car, and in a way, it felt similar to some. So I was inspired by Anthony Mann or Bradbury films, which are really simple and plain, and there's the tension. Still, it was more realistic in a way. So one of the other great inspirations was Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, which is great, like female friendship, glorious film, and it's about just, yeah, being with your friends during the summer day, and then there's this ultimate villain that is going, you know, for you. and I felt, in a way, it felt similar, and I really loved the film. But yeah, also I draw inspiration a lot from Michelangelo Antonioni's, especially La Notte, which is also set within 24 hours, and we follow the protagonist toward the party. So there's some, like, structurally there were similarities as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I always draw like elements of other films that I love, and try to incorporate them and make it feel my own work, and to create my own work. I think the mixing of genres, it brings the unpredictability, which I admire if also done right. So that was what I was trying to do.
And ultimately, what do you hope people will take away from watching the film? And perhaps it is just this sense of, you know, you sit down and you've taken on a bit of a ride, and there's kind of a lightheartedness and an irreverence that runs through it?
Wow, that's a tough question. I mean, the film is in a way about, you know, taking responsibility for your own life, and even though my protagonist, there's a lot of problems that are sort of put on her that were not caused by her, but suddenly she has to deal with them and sort of choose, okay, will I be living my own life, or will I try helping my family? So there's this conflict of really being there for your family and being there for your own self. What the audience should take from it, I don't know. I think that over these 24 hours, she sort of comes of age. She grows up. It is a transformative moment of time in her life, and I think that towards the end, she is ready to confront whatever is going to happen in the future, be it her father or her own life. So maybe standing up for yourself ultimately.
And finally, you know, what does it mean to you to have the film here at Venice Film Festival, and what's your experience being here so far?
It is wild because ever since I wanted to become a filmmaker, it's like a dream come true, you know, to come to Venice. So I still don't believe it. I mean, it's unreal, but it's great. I mean, it's so great to see it because last night when we were premiering, that was the first time I saw it with like the large audience. Because during the post-production, you see it only with your crew members, and and suddenly it's out there, and yeah, you see it just at the large screen, and that's yeah, it's incredible.
And do you know what you're going to be working on next? And what might you take away from this experience to your next project?
I've already shot my second feature, which we're finishing the post-production now. It's called The Other Side of Summer. It's also sort of coming of age, but blended with mystery this time. And it's about teenage girls who are longing for places they cannot reach as they're spending their just boring summer, and they discover a mysterious portal that can take them elsewhere. So there are fantasy and also realistic elements. So I think in a way it's similarly structured as After Party, because there's this realistic side, and then there's the more heightened genre side of the film. It's once again, it's like centered on female protagonists. So that's something I'm really even with the upcoming projects I'm writing now. They're mostly just a group of female characters. So that's what I'm interested in. Yeah, I still try to squeeze it in as much small time window as possible, because this seeming real time is something that really speaks to me. I think I'm going more for the genre elements, like the heightened genre elements, but still just staying grounded and natural as possible.
And when you say there, you know, like you'd like to explore stories with female characters, why is that important to you? And do you think, are we still kind of redressing some balance in cinema of kind of exploring more of the female experience on screen?
I think so. I mean, like 10 years ago, I shot my short film, which was centered around a young teenage girl, and suddenly I realized I was surrounded by so many inspiring women, either in my family, among my friends or colleagues and everything. And I felt that I was not seeing these sort of people represented on screen properly. I mean, there are films that are dealing with female characters in the right way. There are so many of them that are doing it wrong, or especially in Czech cinema, we're lacking like great female characters completely. So I think there's still this balance that even though I wasn't like trying to make a statement, I want to you know, balance this lack of female characters. I just felt like these are the characters I want to make films about. These are the characters I want to watch on film, and that's it. And so yeah, more projects around female characters, it seems, for me.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me. Congratulations on the film, and really enjoy the rest of your time here in Venice. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.